Hello out there, my friends. It is I, Hondo Onaka. Now you know what to do. You must tune in to my favorite podcast, the Fiveish Fangirls. Otherwise, there could be consequences.
The Digits of Squeak continue all the way to episode 493 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. We are back with names from a quote-unquote hat with a bit of a twist. Dun dun dun! Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a every week with the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany Bengal.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, we're back, finally. Oh, my God. The last 2 weeks have just been redonkulous. Really. Absolutely redonkulous. So,
Because 1 week, Rachel and I were both like, is it allergies or is our body trying to do
yeah. Yeah. And then even Brittany was like, I'm not feeling too hot either.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Next thing you know, I have no voice.
Rachel's our tech gal, so we're just like, new.
Kind of hard to, I mean, you can listen to that week's Gold Standard and you can hear, and that was me when I was on the upswing. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just been nuts. So, life, I just like somewhere I can hear Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park just being like, life finds a way, in this case, to get in the way. So, oh, darn you. Whether it's illness or just flat out stress, it has not been fun. So, but anyway, we are back. So,
Yes.
I know that Star Wars Celebration Japan just finished up. Knew a few people that are over there, including Lou and Becky.
Yes, I saw pictures. I was so jelly.
Yes. Yeah, I knew people even beyond them that were out there. And I know that stuff was shown.
Yep.
But it's not on the internet yet. So, like, our first look at Mando and Grogu in their feature film. So,
But just some of the pics on stage with Grogu, and
yeah.
it was like, oh,
Yeah.
that little green guy.
Yep. Yep. And we got some, I think there were some sneak peeks at Ahsoka season 2 because we're getting Loth Cats.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The
in
pictures
Ahsoka
of
season 2. So
I saw some of the artwork. I'm just like,
yeah.
Oh no, they need to make into stuffed animals.
Oh
ASAP.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm sure somewhere merchandising is like on it.
Yep.
So yeah, there is some exciting stuff that got shown in the on the other side of the planet, but we will have to wait until it gets properly released and all that fun stuff. So so that being said, we do have some 10 o'clock news. So Jean Marsh passed away last week at the age of 90, which, I mean, 90, that's pretty darn good. So,
yep.
I mean, she was contributed a lot to
science fiction, fantasy,
film and TV.
film.
So yeah.
I mean, we're
She came up with the idea of upstairs, downstairs.
nice.
Which really, if it wasn't for upstairs, downstairs, I don't think we'd have Downton Abbey.
No, I think you are
It's
right
very
there.
much in the same
Vein. Yeah.
same vein, yeah. And she'd also been in the Twilight Zone. She was married to John Pertwee.
Yep. And then more of a time, because wasn't she Sarah Kingdom?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was also Morgana in the 7th Doctor episode Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And Willow fans, she was Queen Bavmorda.
Yep. So,
am I missing any others?
Off the top of my head, I'm sure. I don't think so, but
because I mean, those were kind of the biggies, and at least in upstairs, downstairs, and then those from Doctor Who and the Disney stuff. So
so I mean, she had scaled back in the 2011 after a stroke, but even then, 90 years old, you rack up a lot of credits. So
yeah.
So there is that. And we got our first, I guess, quote unquote, proper trailer for Fantastic Four First Steps. Previously, it was a teaser. Now this is a trailer. Although a lot of it is, some of it is footage that was in the teaser. There is some footage we've not seen before, including a familiar face that I was not expecting. But I guess it makes sense. It was only time before they pulled him into the MCU, Mark Gatiss. So I was like, wait a minute. That looks like Mark Gatiss. That is Mark Gatiss. Mark Gatiss. Welcome to the MCU.
What are you doing? What are you doing here?
I was like,
okay.
You do know that Sherlock and Watson beat you to the MCU by several years, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now how much closer are we going to be getting to seeing certain blue TARDIS getting featured?
I know. It was like,
now it's like, okay, Gaddis is
Hulak. Hulak.
Yeah, Hulak. Yes. Yes, Hulak or maybe Super Hulak. Come on, a girl can dream.
Yeah, we can.
Right?
So,
and for those of you who aren't in the know, search it out on Tumblr.
Yeah. Just know that, depending on your taste, you may want to have the NCF and NSFW filter on.
Yeah. Or just make sure you do that. Make sure you just do that at home. Yeah. We don't need any browser histories getting looked into.
Yeah. This might be a time to look into a VPN. Just saying. Maybe. Anyway, so yeah.
back
to the Fantastic Four and Mark Gatiss.
Off a tangent back into
Well, it's just like, at this point, it seems like everybody has been in the MCU, and then every now and then you see a face, you're like, oh yeah, you haven't been in it yet, but now you are, so good for you.
Yeah. It's just like, now it's like, okay, you've made it when you've hit Marvel, you've hit Star Wars, you've hit Doctor Who, you've hit this, you've hit that. Or I like how our Venn diagram of fandoms are.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a good thing to have.
Yeah. So, we did get a clip of Mr. Fantastic's stretching ability. I don't think there's enough there to pass judgment on the quality of it at this point, as far as the CGI is concerned. I know that his ability is kind of like, it's an interesting ability. It doesn't necessarily translate that well to live action.
Right.
Unlike the other three, if the thing looks good, then that's, you're pretty much golden there. So, and fire is that cover, even special effects, CGI fire that can cover up a world of hurt.
Yep.
And Sue turns invisible, so she just needs to disappear. So,
right. But blank airspace, you're good.
Yep. Pretty much. So I don't have passing judgment on all the CGI quite yet.
Right, because it's early. It's probably early stages, and
right, they'll still
they'll polish it up.
They'll do some tweaking, based on feedback. If they can completely redo Sonic the Hedgehog, they can make some adjustments here. I know it's not the same studio, but same idea.
Yes.
And then for those who do not know their comic book lore, no, they did not regender the Silver Surfer. There is a female Silver Surfer. This is the Silver Surfer's love interest.
Yes.
There is more than one Silver Surfer. One of them happens to be female.
And
again, CGI in the trailer, probably not the finalized version we're going to get in the movie. So, that being said, I don't think she looks that bad.
Yeah.
Comparatively to the last version of the Silver Surfer we got. I think we're a few steps ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, there is that. And then for your feeds, we have been away. That does not mean that we haven't been a little busy on the back end.
Yep.
I need to put the link to your appearance too, Holly, because you made an appearance actually before I did. But both Holly and I have now made appearances on Real Reactions with Greg and Kyle. That would be Greg Vorb and
Kyle Bain.
Kyle Bain. Friends of the show.
Yes.
Friends in general. So again, the Venn diagram of
my
like
casting
Kyle,
family.
Greg, us, DJ Nick,
we're one
Chris
great
podcasting,
happy podcasting family.
Yes, our little fam. So what movie did you do? Because I know they mentioned it when I was on there, but I forget.
I did Angus.
Okay. Which I have no idea what that is.
Oh, it's a teen movie. It's good. It is good. I think it is available streaming to rent unless it hit free, because I wound up finding my personal physical copy and was able to watch it.
That
way.
That is the thing is with this particular show, with this podcast, Real Reactions, is they are trying to do slightly more obscure,
or lesser known films that should have gotten more recognition.
That also means sometimes they're a little harder to find.
Yep.
I know when Greg originally approached me like late last year, the movie I did, Stuart Saves His Family, was not available anywhere. Thankfully between then and right before I needed to watch it, I think it was I got it through my library through Hoopla. So thank goodness this is why you support your local library, kids.
Yep.
Well, it was I was able to get it streaming via Hoopla. I believe it's also, at least as when we recorded, I think it was like on Tubi with ads.
Yep.
Or something like that.
And I think it's also available to, if your local library doesn't carry it or if Tubi takes it up, I know it was available to rent via streaming as well. But I did the Tubi with ads before I sat to watch this.
Which, if you listen to the episode, you'll know that having ads did not work in Kyle's favor when watching this movie.
It did not. And yes, and usually with the real reactions, the best rule of thumb, if you want to enjoy the podcast, watch the movie first, then go in and listen to said podcast.
Yeah, you do kind of need to know what it is we're referring to, like, because this, I was not expecting this going into it. You know, I just knew that it was this kind of obscure movie. Technically, it's an SNL.
Yep.
It's based off an SNL sketch. It's like, so I knew I knew that much.
You knew a teeny bit, yeah.
And then when I watched it, I try to keep an open mind. I really do.
Yeah.
But I was like, so probably be like, maybe it won't be terrible, but it's probably not going to be that good. And I actually ended up enjoying it way more than I thought I was going to. But it also scratched a very specific itch for me.
Right.
That I will not get into now. You need to listen to the episode because
exactly.
I got on my soapbox. And
yes, yep, you did, but just and Rachel, I was 1 point above you for rating.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yes, because Greg had messaged me, letting me know you're going to be on, and he's just like, it's like, well, what would you rate it? And he's like, oh, okay, you're not too far off from Rachel.
Cool.
Yes.
So yeah, go listen to it. It's a good pod. Obviously, Greg and Kyle know what they're doing.
Yes.
When it comes to this sort of thing, and I guess this specific podcast, I guess they've got it planned out for like 60 something episodes. I think
so.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's what Greg said. Is like 62 episodes or something like that. Like this is going to be like a mini series, I guess, or something.
Yep.
Maybe for this season, I don't know.
Yeah. Unless
although they're only doing this once a month, so
right. Yeah. Or this could be like he'll do so many, and then it's like, okay, we'll stop here. Here's a season. Here's the next.
So, but they're essentially plotted out for several years doing this once a month. So.
Yeah.
Because they do have other shows, like Star Trek and
yes, yep, yes,
among other things. So,
yep.
But I'm sure at some point Holly and I will probably both get asked back for our a second go round.
I'm thinking so. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they come up with
for us. Yeah,
because it's like. Because he's like, well, so far I seem to be pretty good about matching up the right movie with the right guest. So
yes, he has. It's just been like, wow.
Yeah. So there is that, and then of course, as I mentioned, you can hear my gravelly, squeaky voice. I hadn't fully recovered yet on the latest episode of Gold Standard. Also in your feeds where we talk about scratching another type of itch for me, which is real life political stories. All the President's Men and stuff like that. In this case, it's The Front Runner.
Ooh.
So
check that one out on my to be listened.
Yep. List. And then we're supposed to be recording this was Patreon episode this coming weekend, so that'll be in the feeds. I'll remind everyone next week. Nice. But yeah, this month's Gold Standard Patreon film will be available on the Patreon feeds after this coming Sunday, the 27th. So we're speaking of political, although this isn't really set in real life. It's not really real life, but it's at the very least it's going to be really fun to listen to the dialogue because we're doing all the President's Men, which poor Zan that means Zan has to watch Tom Cruise, but it's an Aaron Sorkin script, so that scratches an itch too. It's not like it's not like I've been binging The West Wing again for no particular reason whatsoever. So It's not like I've gone through 5 seasons of The West Wing in like a month. Again.
We don't judge. We don't judge.
Yeah. Even though Sorkin left after season 4, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's so well written. So, oh, I do love me some Aaron Sorkin. Dialogue. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So there's that. And then book club updates, because we are grossly behind.
Yes. Okay, so for I decided to make things easier for this next 3-month stretch because we kind of had like a tie where I was just like, okay, I'm going to pick 3 and boom, boom, boom. So April, we have the Fraser Hines version of The Evil of the Daleks. May, we are reading Death in the Stars by Mrs. Bonnie Langford. And then a 15th Doctor adventure, by the name of Caged. And then in June, we will have a full setup for July. And I'm hoping by that time, I think some of the other, I might have to wait a little bit because I know they're doing another stretch with like Doctor Who meets Frankenstein and Dracula and those. So I think
what are we, Laurel and Hardy?
I do knew, but they look rather interesting.
Scooby-Doo?
So...
Oh wait, there was a Scooby-Doo reference in this week's Doctor Who. So
yeah, there was a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just say the current iteration of the Doctor thinks he's the Velma. So.
Yep. And the TARDIS makes a pretty good mystery mobile, I do have to say.
That is true.
Because the mystery is when and where are they going to land, and what kind of trouble are we going to get into?
That is true. That is very true. There you go.
And if it wasn't for the Doctor and his dark companion, we would have gotten away with it too. I'll be here every Monday. Or almost every Monday.
Mm-hmm. You hear that, BBC? You get these ideas free of charge. I mean, we did have a Supernatural Scooby-Doo.
Yes, we
crossover, did. So, which is funny when you think of it, considering that in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffy and her friends are considered the Scooby Gang.
Scooby Gang, exactly.
Yep. From Hollywood classics to wait, that one? We're watching every Best Picture winner. Join us for laughs, debates, and plenty of award season hot takes. Gold Standard, the Oscars podcast. Listen now. All right. Moving on to feedback. That's feedback from Shalane. Quite a bit, actually. So, as I sneeze, excuse me. Like, I felt it. I was like, am I actually going to sneeze or am I going to lose it? Like I do most of the time. Guess we're actually going to follow through this time. All right. Shalane's feedback. She says, hey ladies, I've been listening and taking notes again, so here's a bunch of random thoughts and reactions. I'm glad you mentioned Into the Woods when talking about the darker Cinderella tale. That musical definitely draws from more gruesome versions, like when the stepsisters cut off parts of their feet to fit the slipper and the birds peck out their eyes, which apparently Nick really enjoyed hearing my description of that in our Cinderella episode.
Should we be concerned, Nick?
I mean, he is Italian. I don't know. I don't know how that's justification, but somehow in my mind it is. Disney does seem to time some of these remakes with anniversaries. For example, Maleficent came out in 2014, which lines up nicely with the 55th anniversary of Sleeping Beauty. I think the 2015 Cinderella might have been an attempt to honor the 65th anniversary of the original, though it was off by a few years. I love the mention of Cinderella Man. It was such a good example of how Cinderella has become shorthand for the underdog story in sports and media. Yep. I agree with the Lilo and Stitch comparison. If they pull it off like How to Train Your Dragon, it could work. Both of those, I am
cautiously optimistic.
I am holding my tongue at this point. So, well, I think now that Epic Universe is almost open. It's been soft open. They've been doing previews and stuff, so it's like you can find video and pictures of people visiting Epic Universe at Universal. And because part of that is the world of How to Train Your Dragon, that the idea of having a live action, I think, is maybe Universal's way of making sure that the translation from a cartoon to live action in the parks maybe is a bit more seamless. Maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm not entirely sure. I only ever saw the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, and I was like, it's okay. But some people apparently they really, really love it. So, and it looks cool. The section at the park, and they do have dragons. So it does look pretty cool. It's just it's the IP is just lost on me. But I could kind of see maybe if Universal was gonna like, oh well, we're gonna have look live action How to Train Your Dragon, and then look, you could go to the parks and it looks exactly the same. That's me spitballing also. Let's see. I've heard some fan casting for the Tangled remake with Catherine Hahn as a Mother Gothel. Not sure how reliable that is, but I'd love it. Yes,
Ooh.
me too. Oh my god, that would be so good.
I can see
Catherine
that.
Hahn as Mother Gothel.
She'd be so perfect. Oh yes.
Oh, she would
Right?
take Mother Knows Best and just eat the scenery.
Yes.
So much.
I mean, based off of what she did in Agatha All Along, WandaVision, and then some of her other acting stuff that I've seen her in. Oh yeah, she would be perfect as Mother Gothel.
Exactly.
You listening, Disney? You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. I also read that the Tangled remake might be delayed because of Snow White. Maybe Disney didn't want to put two fairy tale princess musicals out too close to it. But I think they probably didn't want to release another one so close to a flop.
Yeah. Yeah. Because my mom was just like, should we? And I'm just like, we'll just wait till that comes out on streaming and we'll watch it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, from what I've been hearing, it's no good. I'd rather go on a Tuesday and spend $5 on a different movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Speaking of Tangled, did you know the director they've tapped also worked on The Greatest Showman? They sent another way around a musical. Yeah. Apparently, a live action How to Train Your Dragon 2 is also in development now. And honestly, if they try to remake Kung Fu Panda or anything else with talking animals, I'm out. I agree. What's next? A live action Madagascar?
Ooh, please.
Ice Age?
Rachel, shush.
I know.
Don't
give me ideas. All right. So I noticed there's no home in the title of the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 4, which might be a sign they're changing things up. I'm excited to see what they do next with Tom Holland's Spidey. Yeah, I mean, considering the last one was No Way Home, home is kind of like metaphorically Spider-Man, or at least Peter Parker, doesn't have a home.
Right. And I don't know how much copyright infringement it would be because there's a Blind Faith song called "Can't Find My Way Back Home."
Oh, I mean, this one still has a subtitle. It's Brand New Day, but still,
okay.
It's just a matter of, home is not a thing that Peter Parker / Spider-Man really has now.
Right.
So it would make sense to drop the whole home thing.
Right.
So
yeah.
It says I'm really excited for Spider-Verse 3. Can't wait. Yeah. Into the Spider-Verse. It's really cool. It says, was this your first time covering a DreamWorks movie? Off the top of my head?
Yeah, maybe.
I think so.
And I'm doing that with I'm doing that with a head tilt because I'm trying to go through my buggy memory of all the DreamWorks stuff that's been out.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. But don't quote me on that because I'm old. You're supposed to keep track of these things first, Elaine.
Right?
Don't you know our unofficial archivist?
Yes.
And record keeper? I've always loved The Road to El Dorado. Great music, Elton John, and the cast is amazing. Fun fact, Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh both showed up in other anime projects too. It was like there was a voice actor circle in the early 2000s, yeah. DreamWorks really hit its stride back then. Ants was weird, but after that, it was a hit after hit. I still think Jeffrey Katzenberg has some kind of Emperor Palpatine behind him. Yeah, don't insult Emperor Palpatine like that. I don't have a lot of love for Jeffrey Katzenberg, so I'm sorry. When you treat people like that, you're not on my good list. Unlike Santa Claus.
You're off the Christmas card list, basically, pretty much.
Yeah. He's just, I mean, occasionally, yes, he's had great ideas. He also had some very terrible ideas that thankfully people overrode him.
No, how about not?
Yes. But in general, just as a leader, and I use that term very loosely, he just does not have the best reputation as far as treating people nicely and getting along and, not being mean and rude. And it's like, I don't have a lot of love for people like that. So let's see. You did a listener ranking of non-Disney animation studios a while ago. If you could find that list again, it'd be fun to revisit it. I have no idea what she's talking about, but because we're almost 500 episodes in, that does not mean much.
I'm thinking to list.
I think I know what she's referring to. That was a while back. Like a long while back. It wasn't so much a ranking, is more just like we were talking about non-Disney animated films, I think. Oh my goodness. That's way back. That has to be within like the first like 2 or 3 years, I think, of us doing the show.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not that far back, but it seems like it was a while ago, so it was definitely pre-pandemic, so yeah. I can tell you that much. My personal faves are Laika and DreamWorks, but I also like Illumination sometimes. Should I agree The Road to El Dorado would make a perfect for stage musical? DreamWorks should focus on that instead of making more live action remakes. Yes. Wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. Thank you, Shalane.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Your feedback. Adventure, intrigue, worlds beyond imagination. J.M. Anjawardin's books will take you on a journey you won't forget. Discover your next favorite read today. Find them on Amazon. All right, so moving on to names from a quote-unquote hat, but I thought I would shake things up a little.
Okay. Ooh.
Pun maybe intended.
So we're having a twist.
Yes. I'm bringing in a plot twist. Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me here messing with tiny little slips of paper that like to stick together, and not cooperate at all, because we also have this list in a Google Doc. It was easy enough to take the ones that we have not done yet and copy and paste them into the wonderful wheelofnames.com hashtag not a sponsor.
I was wondering if we were going to do a virtual wheel spin here.
We're going to let a virtual wheel make the decision instead of me fighting all the tiny little pieces of paper.
Where it stops, nobody knows.
Nobody knows, except for me.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty then. We have the first person. So get out those IMDb's and the Wikipedias and all the other favorite searchy things. I mean, if you want to go like Ask Jeeves, I ain't gonna judge.
Ooh, Ask Jeeves.
Is
That's a
Ask
throwback.
Jeeves still? Yeah, is Ask Jeeves still? Still working? Because
this person shares a birthday with my dad. Not the same year, mind you, but month and date. This person quite a bit younger than my dad. By quite a bit. But they are an American actor and filmmaker.
Okay.
The recipient of various awards, including a British Academy Film Award, 3 Grammys. He's been nominated for 12 Academy Awards, 6 Golden Globes, and a Tony.
Okay.
Has appeared on the Forbes Celebrity 100 list 3 times and on Time's list of 100 most influential people in the world in 2015. His films have grossed $13 billion worldwide. Although, funnily enough, his career, not as long as some others. He didn't really get started until almost the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
His first credit is from 1999 with a guest role on a TV series, which I completely forgot that he made an appearance in that. But now that I'm reminded, I'm like, yes, that was a thing. He's done a combination of comedy and drama, indie movies to big blockbusters, since the $13 billion worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Sexiest Man Alive in 2011 is from Abington Township, Pennsylvania, which is near Philly.
You said 2011?
Sexiest Man Alive?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I think I may have it.
Yeah, I say you could just Google Sexiest Man Alive 2011. And it's going to tell you.
It's popped up. Right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now things are starting to click a little more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's say Bradley Cooper.
Yes. Yep.
Hang with Mr. Cooper.
Yes, and the drama brouhaha over are they or aren't they a couple with Lady Gaga when they were doing the Stars.
Funnily enough, we discussed his co-star from A Star Is Born last time we did this.
Yes, we did.
So.
How appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yes, Bradley Charles Cooper from good old Pennsylvania. His mom worked at a local television station, and his dad was a stockbroker. His father was of Irish descent, and his mother is of Italian ancestry. Let's see, as an older sister, Holly, he had a growth in his ear.
Ow.
Ouch.
Yeah. Not long after he was born, it punctured his eardrum.
Ow.
Poor thing.
Yeah. So, don't Google images of that, because that's kind of gross.
That sounds not good.
Not going to.
Yeah. He says when he was a kid, or describing himself as a child, he said, "I never lived the life of, oh, you're so good looking. People thought I was a girl when I was little because I look like a girl. Maybe because my mother would keep my hair really long." That's funny. He played basketball. He enjoyed cooking. He initially wanted to attend Valley Forge Military Academy and moved to Japan to become a ninja. Thankfully, his father introduced him to movies like The Elephant Man, thank you, David Lynch, which inspired him to become an actor. His parents wanted him to pursue a career in finance and were against acting, but they eventually changed their mind. Let's see. When he was at school, he was not the smartest person or the coolest kid. He was just kind of meh. Graduated high school in 1993. Oh my god. I haven't even started high school yet. He's graduating high school.
I haven't started any school yet.
Yeah. Went to Villanova for a year before transferring to Georgetown, where he majored in English and minored in French. Graduated in '97 with a Bachelor of Arts with honors. He was on the rowing team. He spent 6 months as an exchange student in France. Let's see. He got accepted to the Actors Studio.
Nice.
And got his MFA in acting. That's pretty high up there. While studying in New York, he worked as a doorman. Gotta make that tuition money however you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Although he actually missed his graduation ceremony to film Wet Hot American Summer. Interesting movie. It's not my type of comedy. I mean, it's definitely kind of a who's who of who was big at the time and also some up and comers.
Mm-hmm.
For it being 2001, you know, Jean Garofalo, David Hyde Pierce, Molly Shannon, Paul Rudd, Michael Ian Black, so Amy Poehler, so quite a bit.
Yeah, those are some pretty big names.
Yeah, I mean it's a spoof on the teen comedies of that era, you know, American Pie, that sort of thing. And actually they did a prequel on Netflix, and then they did a sequel series on Netflix with most of the same cast, despite the fact that they've aged. He was on Alias, apparently season 1. And then he started to do some not so notable or noticeable films and movies, although he did do Wedding Crashers.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. And then of course, I think for most people, Bradley Cooper really became a thing with The Hangover and all of its sequels. So, which was 2009, which I've only ever seen the first one. I don't care to see the rest of them. Again, not my type of comedy. So, I will say it is quite fun though. It really, you only need to have seen the first one to enjoy the vignettes at Madame Tussauds in Las Vegas, because they were able to take some of the actors and pop them in there. Like there's a bar where you can get drinks and hang out with the wax figure Zach Galifianakis, which was quite fun. But then that's where they put the Mike Tyson wax figure. They do have a tiger in the bathroom. So that is kind of fun, you know, because I was like, okay, where's the tiger? There's a tiger in the bathroom here somewhere. And there is. Da 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 da. He's God, I forgot that was a thing when they did that feature remake of the A-Team.
Oh right, I actually saw that in theaters.
Yeah,
my friends and I went to go see that.
Yeah, he's in that. That did not go over well.
No.
Probably why I forgot it was a thing. Of course, you know, Hangover Part 2 in 2011. And then, let's see, in 2012, he started 4 films. Only 2 of those I really know what they are. So I don't know what the words is. Hit and Run, The Place Beyond the Pines, I've at least heard of, and Silver Linings Playbook.
I still need to see that. I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he plays his character is bipolar. And like I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, actually his portrayal is fairly accurate actually. Uh of a portrayal of somebody with bipolar disorder. So good for that. And of course, Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar for that. So oh, then The Hangover Part 3, which we didn't ask for the second one, and then we got the third one. He plays a FBI agent in American Hustle, which that is just, again, loaded cast.
Yep.
It is a black comedy. It is quite fun, though, because of the time period it's set in. They're like, okay, set in the late 70s, early 80s, go. Like, when it comes to set design, they were just like, so it's not terrible. I will say that. But it's definitely interesting with the characters. So, again, a stat cast: Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Jennifer Lawrence. And that did pretty well actually. So got him another Academy Award nomination. He has starred alongside Jennifer Lawrence a lot of times. And of course, since 2014, he has been the voice of Rocket Raccoon in the MCU.
Oh, how we love him.
Yep. And then he got his Tony nomination for kind of this going full circle. He himself portrayed Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man, on Broadway.
Did not know that.
Yep. He would portray U.S. Navy SEAL Chris Kyle in American Sniper. I am not going to... One, I've not seen that. It's not really my type of movie to begin with. Second, there's a lot of controversy around that thing. Not just the movie, but all of Chris Kyle's like life and the memoir that this is based on. How like factual out there. This is a whole thing that like if you want to go down that rabbit hole, go right on it. If you just want to watch it just to see Cooper's portrayal, you can do that too. But just know that is a rabbit hole. And you would come at the other end probably going, I still don't know who's telling the truth, or maybe you will. I don't know. Once again, alongside Jennifer Lawrence in the movie Joy. The less we talk about Aloha, the better as well. And then he directed his first film, which was A Star is Born, the fourth incarnation of A Star is Born. So, but he directed it and starred in it alongside Lady Gaga. Yes. And that's when we found out, hey, Bradley Cooper can kind of sing.
Yes.
Although he did a lot of prep beforehand. He did voice lessons, piano lessons, guitar lessons for like 6 months. So he's not a natural, not like Lady Gaga, who sings for a living. But between him and Lady Gaga, they co-wrote and produced most of the songs that are on the soundtrack. So obviously their song Shallow ended up winning an Academy Award, among other things. Shallow got 2 Grammy nominations for Record of the Year and Best Pop Duo Group Performance, winning that one. The soundtrack itself received 7 Grammy nominations across the board. The movie itself got 7 Academy Award nominations, 5 of which were for Cooper: Best Film, Best Direction, Best Actor in Leading Role, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film Music. No, that's the BAFTAs. Sorry, not the Oscars. Which with that, Cooper became the first person with 5 nominations in a single ceremony in BAFTA's history. Nominated for 3 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay. He co-produced Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, which we have covered on Gold Standard. So if you want to go listen to our review of this Bradley Cooper produced film, there you go. Dissolved his producing partnership, though, and was not involved in the sequel. Probably for the best.
Probably.
Yeah. Of course, now he still voices Rocket in various Marvel-related things, including the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, I Am Groot, the Disney Plus series. I'm pretty sure he does the voice for Rocket in both of the Disney attractions. There is Rewind at Epcot, and then Mission, what's it called? At DCA, Mission Breakout, I think is what it's called. I've not been on either yet, so, but I'm pretty sure that he did those. So, and of course, most recently, he got some nominations and also some controversy for playing his portrayal of Leonard Bernstein in Maestro. Got 2 more BAFTA and Golden Globe nominations for direction and performance, 3 more Academy Award nominations for production, writing, and performance. And then won another Grammy for the Maestro soundtrack. And who knows what he will come up with going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, he has had issues with addiction and substance abuse. He has undergone therapy and has managed to stay sober since 2004.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, he was not doing really well. The early part of his career was, well, it was slowly taking off. His person, on the backside of things, he was not doing well with the addiction and substance abuse. He did get married in December 2006 to Jennifer Esposito. And they were divorced less than a year later. Although apparently it wasn't a terrible breakup. He said that it's just something that happened. The good thing is we both realize it. Sometimes you just realize it. So that's good. There's some speculation on whether he was dating Renee Zellweger. He's dated Zoe Saldana for a while. He's dated Suki Waterhouse. He had a relationship from 2015 to 2019 with a Russian model. They have a daughter together who was born in 2017, and apparently since late 2013 he's been dating Gigi Hadid. His father unfortunately died from lung cancer in 2011, and since then he's supported several organizations to help fight cancer, including the charity Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. He's also worked on behalf of awareness and research for Alzheimer's, which that's good. And because he's from right outside of Philadelphia, he's an Eagles fan.
But of course. But of course.
So that is kind of it for now Well, Mr. Koopa, because he's still at it. So, obviously, when the MCU comes a-knocking, he will probably answer the call. Because he voices Rocket. He does not do the motion capture for Rocket. But that's okay. So, any thoughts about Mr. Cooper?
I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely see why he was picked to be sexiest man alive. He's not my cup of tea.
Right.
But he is very conventionally attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will not begrudge anybody who finds him a little good looking. All right, then. Let's give the wheel a spin. We have our next person who is also an American.
Okay.
Definitely is a slightly older, not quite as old as my dad, but definitely older than Bradley Cooper, by a couple of decades. He's not had a birthday yet this year. His birthday is not until September.
Okay.
He is Californian.
Okay.
One of 7 kids. I did not know that.
Wow. Okay.
He was a Navy brat.
Hmm?
His dad was a U.S. Navy captain. There's some overlap here with Bradley Cooper that I could not have planned this. If I tried.
Serendipity.
They have both started productions of The Elephant Man.
Okay.
Both he and Bradley Cooper. They also both have connections to a certain DC villain.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much more I can say without giving it away.
I think I got it. Is it Mark Hamill?
Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Is it
Mark Hamill?
Yes.
Woohoo! Like when you said the certain DC actor, like, ooh, Joker, wait, ooh.
Yep.
Yeah. Double check.
Yep. Richard Hamill.
And a big number of one of our tentpole fandoms that we covered.
Yes. Star Wars? Never heard of it.
That Hamill kid, he's gonna go places, I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, his father's a U.S. Navy captain. He is one of 7 children with 2 brothers and 4 sisters. He's described his father as a staunch Roman Catholic and a Nixon Republican.
Wow.
Apparently his dad did not quite understand his son's love of movies and comic books. I think he showed his dad a thing or two about turning things you love into a job. But yes, because they were a military family, they moved a lot. So, including, he's lived places like Williamsburg and Virginia and Annandale, Virginia, and then San Diego. Then they moved back to Virginia. And then his dad got stationed in Japan. So then he went with him. So, and like a lot of American actors, Mark cut his teeth on a soap opera. Want to guess which one? If you said General Hospital, you'd be right.
I was about to. I'm just like, I was trying to think. If General Hospital, that would fit.
Yep. But of course, he graduated high school in 1969. Less than a decade later, he would star in the first of what would be many of these little Star Wars movies. What's interesting is, our listeners, obviously, you can give your 2 cents, but how many people know the origin story of Mark getting the role of Luke Skywalker? Apocalypse Now
Okay.
was also in production.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah.
Coppola. That was in early production, so they were having auditions for that. Not that it would matter because some of those parts would be a given. In this case. So again, that's a whole other ball of wax. So let's just say cue cards came very handy for Brando. Anyway, auditions for Apocalypse Now are happening in whatever building. Just so happens that in the same building across the hall they were doing auditions for Star Wars. And it just so happened Freddy Krueger himself, soon to be Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund was auditioning for Apocalypse Now, saw the auditions for Star Wars, and thought, hey, my good friend Mark would be fantastic for this role of Luke Skywalker. So, calls him up. He's like, hey, Mark, you should really think about auditioning for this. Turns out Mark's agent already had an audition secured.
Nice.
So there were several people in Mark's corner saying, dude, you should probably go out for this role.
We gotta feel it.
Yeah. So came in, did the audition, ended up doing a screen test with Harrison Ford. And kind of assumed that Luke would be Han's sidekick, and he wasn't sure if it was supposed to be funny or not. Obviously, it didn't really matter because Star Wars came out in May 1977 and the world has never been the same.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you know your Star Wars lore, you'll know that in between the first movie, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back, that Mark was in a car accident and injured his face pretty badly, fractured his nose and his left cheekbone. Well, he did not get plastic surgery. They did what they could to repair it, short of, totally rearranging his face. But they were able to kind of work it in by having Luke, get frostbite and all that stuff on Hoth.
And the Wampa attack.
And the Wampa attack. So, which, considering the path that Luke starts to go down after the first movie, the more grizzled look kind of works. So, I'm sure he would have rather not been in the car accident as somebody who's also been in one. I'd rather not been in said accident, but, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, and nowadays, you can't even really tell. But, of course, it's granted, he released this in the 80s, but the Weird Al song Yoda is told from the perspective of Luke Skywalker. And there's a line in there towards the end that says, I'll be playing this part till I'm old and gray. How accurate he realized that line would be, I did not think he knew at the time. Because when they did the Disney trail, the new 3 movies, they gave it back, like, and I'd hear that Weird Al song and I'd hear that line and I'm like, it's so accurate because it's funny because it's true. So yeah, he's been involved in Star Wars ever since, mostly as Luke Skywalker, obviously. He has done some voice work as other characters.
Yes.
But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much Luke Skywalker anywhere and everywhere. Again, it's voiced various other, like I said, various other characters. He has done the voice of Darth Bane. in the Clone Wars series. He's done some voice work in The Mandalorian and Rogue One and Solo. Some of those are undisclosed on what it actually he did, but he'd be credited as William and Patrick, and as Patrick Williams. So obviously they de-aged him to play younger, or for the version of the younger-ish Luke in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So, but yeah, I mean, the role of Luke Skywalker kind of not just like for science fiction fans, but considering his young age, he became a teen young adult heartthrob in the late 70s as well. He'd end up in the magazines like Tiger Beat. And in between Star Wars movies, he did try to do other stuff that was not so coded, like that run in The Elephant Man on Broadway. Although his run was way before Bradley Cooper's. Mark's was in 1979. Bradley Cooper was barely potty trained when Mark Hamill did his run as the Elephant Man. He also was in Amadeus, the stage version, obviously, not the
screen version,
not the film version. Which he did it in the early 80s. The version that Mark was in, Peter Firth Mozart, because it's funny because it was the this particular run. So premiered on Broadway in 1980 and closed in late 1983. When it opened, Ian McKellen was playing Salieri. Tim Curry was Mozart, and Jane Seymour was Constance.
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah.
And please tell me why there was not a film crew filming that?
Yeah, I know, really. So, but at some point, Mark Hamill, somewhere in that run, took over. He played Mozart, so, which I thought was kind of cool. If I had all the money in the world back in 2022, I would have flown all the way down to Sydney, Australia to see the version with Michael Sheen. So, but wait, So, anyway, that's kind of cool though. Mark Hamill, filling the shoes that started out being worn by Tim Curry. That's pretty awesome. He did audition to play the role of Mozart in the film version, but obviously that did not happen, and Tom Hulce got it. So apparently they told him, or a studio executive told the producers, I don't want Luke Skywalker in this film. Apparently the director told Mark that no one is believing that Luke Skywalker is Mozart. Oh, goodness. Seriously, typecasting. This is how people get typecast. So, of course, not all of his acting has been in film. He's also done television. He was the trickster in The Flash in the 90s. And then would come back to play the trickster again.
Yep.
In the CW DC universe. I remember this. I'll find the link in the show notes and put it in there. He made a guest appearance on an episode of Saturday Night Live, playing himself being sold in a Star Wars themed home shopping sale. So He's done a number of video games, not Star Wars. They remember, I don't think I ever played it, the Wing Commander computer games. But he, in some of the video cutscenes, he plays Colonel Christopher Blair. Da, 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 da. Oh, yes, he was in Criminal Minds.
Yes, he was.
Yes, the Replicator.
He played a creepy bad guy.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad on sub.
Oh yes, big time bad.
Bad. And of course he's made cameos as himself also anytime that they need, to make a Star Wars reference or something, like, he'd appeared on The Big Bang Theory.
Oh yes.
As himself, actually. Funnily enough, he ended up performing the marriage ceremony for Sheldon and Amy.
Yes.
Upstaging Will Wheaton.
Yes. Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah. So, and a lot of voice acting, but of course, outside of Star Wars and Luke Skywalker, he's also probably the most prolific when it comes to his voice acting, is voicing various incarnations of the Joker.
Yes, and he does an awesome job as the Joker.
Goodness gracious! I mean, his voice list, I think, is longer, to be honest with you, because, like I said, doing voiceover work can kind of almost be easier because you don't have to worry about like hair and makeup and costuming and stuff. It's like you go into a recording booth and you say the lines and there you go. You get paid. So but yeah, he started, his first time doing the Joker was in Batman the Animated Series, which tells you how long it's been. So 14 episodes of Batman the Animated Series, 3 episodes of Superman the Animated Series, 5 episodes of the New Batman Adventures, 5 episodes of the Justice League, an episode of Static Shock, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. He dubbed the voice of the Joker in the live action series Birds of Prey, where essentially they did the big plot twist in The Killing Joke. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave it vague. So the Joker does something really, really bad to someone. He said he says he has voiced the Joker for toys and amusement park rides, and although these jobs do not pay particularly well, he's enjoyed even these small roles and admitted being protective of the character, preferring not to let, quote, others sleep in my sleeping bag. Of course, video games. There was a time where they thought maybe Mark was going to retire during the Joker. Because he did Batman Arkham City, a video game, and at that time he said it was going to be his last as the Joker. And they clarified that, saying Arkham Asylum would be hard to top, not that he was quitting. And then October 2011, he announced on Twitter saying, "Hello, goodbye, Joker." And then in June 2012, WB Games released an expansion pack titled The Last Laugh, featuring Hamill as the Joker. But since then, he's come back for Batman Arkham Knight, with the character recurring through the game as a hallucination. So he also said if there would ever be an animated well, I mean, beforehand, before they actually did it, he had said that if they ever did a version, an anime version of the Killing Joke, that he would love to voice the Joker, and he did. Though again, the Joker does something very, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much. He has said that since Kevin Conroy's death, that he isn't interested in doing the Joker without Kevin there. So he did voice the Joker in the fighting game Multiverses, and in the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, which is animated. But Conroy had recorded his dialogue before he died. So, and on top of everything else, Mark has also written a comic book. He is co-writer of The Black Pearl, in no way related to Pirates of the Caribbean. Is comic book miniseries published by Dark Horse Comics. So it is actually it focuses on Luther Drake, a troubled man who becomes a costume vigilante, quote-unquote, hero by accident and media pressure. Give that a shot if you like. He's also written several stories for the Simpson comics. He's also appeared on The Simpsons as himself, of course. Apparently, he was a huge fan of the Late Night with David Letterman. Apparently, he appeared on Letterman show. He also taped every episode and kept a journal documenting said show. God, he is a nerd.
Right?
He even got involved with Letterman's new show, but it eventually stopped. Because Letterman's new show did not do well. Let's see. He dated one of his co-stars in General Hospital for a while. Eventually he met Mary Lou York, who is a dental hygienist. They got married December 17th, 1978, and have been together ever since. They have 3 kids, Nathan Elias, Griffin Tobias, and Chelsea Elizabeth. So Nathan was born during the production of Empire, and actually has a cameo as one of the royal guards of Naboo in Star Wars Episode 1. All 3 have had cameos as resistance soldiers in The Last Jedi. He and his wife are also grandparents, because their oldest son Nathan has a daughter named Autumn. So, he says that he's attributed his long, happy marriage because one, he's married to a non-actor. Mm-hmm. Because he dated a fellow actor, his co-star in General Hospital, and realized that 2 actors dating doesn't necessarily work well. I understand there are some Hollywood folks that have been in very, very long relationships. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not always married, but very long relationships, sometimes actually, legally married, and their significant other is not a celebrity. You wouldn't even know some of them actually had a spouse, because their spouse does not even do some of the stuff that comes with being in a relationship with a celebrity, like going to the red carpet. Mm-hmm. And premieres and stuff. So you might be onto something there. So they did have to evacuate their house during the Los Angeles fires. I don't know if their house suffered any damage though. So Mark is very, even now he is very active for various causes. He is very honest about his opinions in all sorts of topics, politics, science, you name it. If you follow Mark on social media, he does not pull any punches, which, he's earned it. Yeah. This is, he is who he is, and you don't like it too bad. So yeah, I would highly recommend following Mark on social media if you aren't already. So, and yeah, Star Wars does come up every now and then, especially when it's coming from younger Star Wars fans. You'll have like parents tweet him on behalf of like, their 10-year-old.
Yep.
And Mark is usually pretty good about, getting into Star
Responding.
Wars discourse when it comes to new younger fans, but he does not keep it. It's not Star Wars 100% of the time. So
no. And he has traded some back and forth with William Shatner, which have been cool.
Yeah. So he has an asteroid named after him.
Oh, really?
Yes. It is the 110026 Hamill. That's cool. Discovered by the Goodrick Pigott Observatory in Tucson, Arizona. So yeah, that's Mark. And of course, he is doing the convention circuit, time permitting. Obviously, when he does do conventions, it kind of turns into a whole thing. If you'll, those of us that have been around long enough to remember, what was it? Pre-pandemic, definitely Mark made an appearance at FanX in Salt Lake, and they had to have his fan panel at the facility where the Jazz play, just because they knew that there were going to be so many fans. Oh. So yeah, anytime Mark comes to town, it's kind of a big deal for the Star Wars fans, of course, because at the end of the day, he's Luke Skywalker. So whether you thankfully he has embraced it, instead of being like at the very least he knows where his paycheck comes from to buy presents for that granddaughter of his. His kids are all grown. It's not like he needs to pay for college or anything. So, but now he's got a grandkid to spoil. So, any other thoughts about Mark?
Great.
I do.
And he's awesome.
Great actor.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's very talented. Yeah.
If you've never searched for it, search for an Uber Eats commercial with it's actually a couple of commercials with him and Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah,
great.
years ago.
Love them.
Yeah, those were hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, he's one of those where it's like he just kind of pops up and you're like, oh, hi Mark Hamill.
Yes.
How you doing, Mark Hamill? That he just popped up recently because I watched the trailer for I forget what it's called. It's based on a Stephen King short. It's Tom Hiddleston's in it. But Mark Hamill's in it. I think he plays like his grandfather or something. So I was like, oh, hey Mark Hamill. Like, how you doing? He's a cool dude. Like I said, if you're not following him on the social medias, you should. It's at the very least, it's highly entertaining. Yeah, especially if you side with him politically, you may find it more humorous than if you don't. But if you just get a kick out of that sort of thing, you may still just enjoy watching it go down. So, like I said, he's very much a philanthropist as well. So he'll throw his weight behind a cause if he thinks that it deserves some promotion. So yeah, and I think with that, that's where we're going to stop because those are both pretty good picks.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did we manage to pick two guys that have both played the same role like 40 years apart?
I don't know. Maybe sheer coincidence of the wheel.
Yes.
I don't know.
That is definitely one of those serendipity. Like I said, I couldn't have done that if I'd tried, because I did not know that they had both played the Elephant Man, so I couldn't have done it if I wanted to, because I did not have that information beforehand.
Well, one does not question the power of our name wheel.
Yes, one does not
Right?
no one does not question the power of podcasting. Essentially, really, that's just the serendipity is the way of the name of the game sometimes. So, well, if any of our listeners want to give their feedback, maybe tell us about your favorite roles that both and or Bradley Cooper or Mark Hamill have done. You can share with us your feedback. You can email us fivishfangirls@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com, where you can find links to all of our social media accounts, the book club. There you go. One final plug for the book club. And also ways to financially support us if you so wish, including Patreon and Redbubble, where we have merch and all of that fun stuff. So let's all cross our fingers, cross our toes, cross our whatevers, that we can all stay healthy and sane.
Mm-hmm.
I have 6 weeks of work left before summer vacation. I am trying to hold on to my sanity for all it is worth. And also not get sick again. I've been more sick since taking this job than in the last 15 years of my life. Not counting the time that I had to go have my gallbladder taken out. That's a whole other thing.
Next year should be better for you.
Yeah, I'm really hoping after one school year in that I built up some immunity.
I mean, you might slide just a touch, but then you'll go up.
Got to make sure to get that flu shot once it becomes available, that sort of thing.
You got it. You got it.
Yep. So, yeah. Both Holly and I say a little prayer for us. At least I don't have to grade anything.
True. Yeah.
I don't have to administer any finals or anything like that. So I just have to keep track of 2,300 students on a daily basis. That's all.
And where they are.
Yeah. 6 more weeks. All right. Well, with that, I guess we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany Bangles saying goodnight.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
I just had a really disturbing thought.
Uh-oh.
Crossover Star Wars, Marvel, Rocket Raccoon sees a lightsaber for the first time.
Oh no.
Lord. Oh no. Or Groot. I don't know which is worse.
Thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, thefivishfangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FivishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.